When welcome to the show today. I am your host, Coach TJ, and I want to welcome you all to the Wholeness Without Hustle podcast. It is the place where we are here to talk about every and anything. But tonight we are talking about something phenomenal. And I know everybody who is listening can benefit this. So first, got to get a couple of preliminaries out of the way. I want to say if this is your first time for joining us, we want to welcome you to the show. We want to thank you for joining and tuning in with us. If you're a returning guest, thank you so much for tuning in to us, whether you're joining us from Facebook or from YouTube or one of the podcast platforms that we are streaming to. We want to say thank you for your time. And so tonight, I am so honored and privileged to have this discussion with you guys. And I have a phenomenal guest. And I'm going to bring her to the stage in just 1 second here. But I kind of want to set the scene for what we're going to be talking about. And so tonight's episode is called What Happens When Life Doesn't Go According to the Plan? And we have none other than the Coach Pamela Hankins joining us today. And so we want to say thank you for coming on with us today, Coach Pamela.
Thank you for having
me. Yeah, so we're so excited. I get a chance to get connected with her through a platform where we're both learning and educating ourselves. But when I was thinking about this particular episode about life and life plans, and I kind of thought about, when our generation, you had to have a plan. Like our parents got us to 18, but in my family, from about 14 to 18, they were like, okay, what's your plan? What you gonna do? And it was all about planning life. But I want to kind of give the people just a little bit, because I don't want to spoil your thunder, about who you are. And so if you want to introduce the people to yourself, you are none other than the phenomenal Coach Pamela Hankins. You are a relationship coach, and you're becoming one of my sister friends. So just let the people know who you are, and then we're going to kind of dive into the conversation.
Absolutely. So my name is Coach Pamela Hankins. I am a relationship coach, a speaker, an author, and a podcast. The Grace Effect with Coach Pamela Hankins. And I'm also co-founder of a nonprofit that I founded with my husband in 2020 for 1-2-C. So I wear a lot of hats. I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister. I don't use the word grandma, but I'm a nanny.
Okay, she said she won't use grandma. She's a nanny. Okay. All right. I don't have that title, but if I did, I think I want to be called Nana too. Well, that is phenomenal. And we're so excited again for you being here. So, one of the hardest things that I think about life or life's challenges, especially on this side of 50, is not knowing where you are, or sometimes feeling like you're a failure because things didn't work out. So like I said, when that first part of our discussion, our parents told us about having these life plans, and we used to write it out, and by the time I'm 20, I'm going to be this, and 30, I'm going to do this, and 40, I'm going to do this, and 50, I'm going to do this. But one of the things as I was preparing, I never remember writing a plan past 50, like where I should be or what I should be doing. And so when I look back at all of those things, the first question that comes to mind, because you are this phenomenal relationship coach, and when life doesn't go according to the plan that we created for ourselves, how do we know whether we are experiencing a setback or being redirected into something greater?
That is an excellent question. So, I don't think I'm writing down my plans either. Definitely didn't think about a plan after 50. And being a woman for 60, I didn't have a plan for 60 except for retirement.
Right.
But I will say this. I did have a plan of what I thought my life would be like up until where I'm at. And I didn't follow that path per se.
Okay.
And I almost thought maybe my plan would never manifest. But what I realized is sometimes you do have to go all around the mulberry bush. And I may have taken the Children of Israel voyage, if you will, where what could have probably been a 5-year plan probably ended in turning into 40 years. 30 years. But in that, I don't think I would break any of the lessons that I learned along the way, because those lessons help shape who I am today.
Wow, that's really powerful, because sometimes we don't recognize that redirection until we are looking at it in the rearview mirror, and you talked about the children of Israel and going round and round. There have been times where your plan was to do this, but God's plan was to do something else. And he allowed us to go round and round and round and get frustrated and tired. And you're just like, you know what? Okay, fine. I'm going to take the left, just like you're in the car and you know the way to go. And your GPS come on and it tell you to get off. You're like, I'm not getting off there. I'm like, going, But then when you get there and you realize there's an accident or there's a traffic stop, and now your commute is now additional 2 hours, you're like, man, I should have did the redirection. I should have did something different, And it's like, it's important, especially to us as women. And you talked about how many different hats that you wear, because we got to pivot and shift depending on the hat or depending on the skill that you need at the time. And then sometimes you need to do 2 things at the same time, and people look at it and be like, how in the world do they do that? And you mentioned, some of the life experiences, because I learned from the last time, don't do it that way. There are some lessons that are taught and there's some that are bought.
Oh,
and so, yeah. You got anything to say behind that one?
I think about lessons learned. And when I think about so I'm in IT Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And so it's always the happy path, the current state or future state, right? Or if they say the happy path, the not so happy path. And so when you think of process oriented, it's, they say it's more than one way to skin a cat. And I really realized even in that, so you're going back to your example about if you would have went one way, but you didn't redirect them 2 hours. But think about the things that you may have seen in that 2 hours had you went the same way. Right. And so sometimes you have to make that detour, or like you said, pivot, so that you can see things in a different way. So look at the various hats. I see things differently at one particular situation from the various hats. See one thing one way as me, right? In a particular situation. Whereas I look at it differently if I'm being a daughter or a sister or a wife
Mhm.
or even a grandmother. And so the way I may approach it will be different based upon. But had I not gone in those different roles and responsibilities and had some not so happy path, and then God directed me, you know,
Mhm.
I wouldn't be who I am today.
That is so awesome. And I know that there are so many women who are watching us or possibly listening to us that who have spent decades of being everything to everybody but when they needed them to be. And whether, you fit the category. You said you're a wife, you're a mother, you're a professional. I know in conversation we talked about being a caregiver and the fixer and the strong one. But sometimes the roles can become the identity.
Mhm.
And then something changes and interrupts this thing. The children grow up and they leave the house, and I know as a parent myself, we're excited about it, but then after a while we're like, oh, where are they? Or maybe the marriage changes, the career changes, you experience some kind of loss, and then you enter into another new season. And so, like we were talking about at first, I had everything up to 50 down packed. Now, I didn't do it like you the same way, but now I'm past 50 and I'm like, okay, well, what's next? Like, who am I now? So, the question that I have on the table is, what happens when life shifts you so much and you realize that you don't recognize who you have become? How do you deal with that?
You know what? That's a good. You just have to stop.
Mm.
Do that Michael Jackson looking at the woman in the mirror
Uh-huh.
and
Okay.
ask her question, who am I? What makes me tick? What makes me talk? What I don't like? What I do like? What gets
Mm.
on my nerves? Do I need a nap? Did I have breakfast today? I mean, you really have
Uh-huh.
to stop. Is it hormonal, right? Because when you get a certain age, sometimes
Mm.
it plays into, but for me, doing those things, like you said, um, when my son went away to school, I think it was easy for me in the sense to be able to make that transition
Mm-hmm.
because I had already had a child prior to. So it, who had left home, and needless to say, when he went away to school and he never really came back home. Like he may have came home for a summer. So
Mm-hmm.
like that
Mm-hmm.
empty nester type thing, I was happy about it, but I'm glad that we had that opportunity and God gave me foresight to really say, okay, so your identity is not based upon what you do as a mother. Your identity is based upon what you do as a wife. Your identity is based for me. I define
Mm.
your
Mm-hmm.
identity. And
Mm-hmm.
when I believe I realized that that is what identity was like, those are roles, but my identity was defined by what I did. Jeremiah
Mm.
29:11 says that he knows the plans that he has for us. And once I
Yes.
came to that realization that being a wife didn't define who I was. I mean, I was already defined before I became a wife, right?
Wow. You need to
But
say that again for the people in the back.
I was already defined before I
Mm.
became a wife because God's word says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing. So I was already a good thing. My
Mm.
husband just
Mm-hmm.
had to find me. And he made certain that when he was 11, he found me at 10. So he found me
Okay.
for,
Yes.
for a long time. I just didn't know what he had found. But that's a whole nother, conversation
Mm-hmm.
within
Mm-hmm.
itself. But no, once I realized that it was God who helped define me, and that I wasn't defined by a title. Then making that transition, yeah, did I miss having my children at home, or that part of me being a
Mhm.
mother? Yeah, I did, especially for someone who was never supposed to be able to have children. I did kind of miss
Mm.
it, but it wasn't like I had an identity crisis, because God
Okay.
helped me to see what my identity was, and how it was defined, and it wasn't defined in the roles or the title, that I had
Mhm.
in the world, but
Mhm.
by
Wow, so that is great. So we need to get, if I understood you correctly, or if I can add lib, if you put your identity in who Christ is and separate who he is in you and the things that you do, called these titles, then you don't have a crisis breakdown.
that sounds better
Right?
than I did. I like that.
I mean, because we talk about hormonals and fortunately you are my a little bit big sister, but it's not that many years behind. And you do have these experiences hormonally, and it's like sometimes they come out of nowhere. And you got to understand how to keep them balanced and shifted. I like that. If you stay focused on your relationship with who God made you to be, and just identify these are roles that I play, not who I am, you won't have this identity crisis. So I want to tap into your experience as a relationship coach. I want to
Okay.
pivot a little bit, and I know for me, I was taught to fight for the things that are important. And one of the things that my grandfather used to always say is, we're family. We fight together. It's going down, we go down together. And we're told to fight for the things that are important. So whether it's fighting for our marriage, the relationship, family, kids, you're not supposed to give up. But then there comes a point, I think every woman has either said to herself or asked herself, am I fighting for this relationship, or am I losing myself trying to save it? So,
Mm,
how do you recognize the difference? Is this something to fight for, or do I lose myself to keep it?
that's good. So, as a relationship coach, I will say, when you understand that everything you do is relational,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you focus on the most important relationship, and that is your relationship with God. God's word says he's like the chief cornerstone. He is. And so if that is the primary focus that you take in every relationship, God's Holy Spirit is going to lead you to let you know, okay, is this relationship a relationship that I should fight for? And so, speaking from my personal experience, as you asked that question, I realize if you look at life like a game, every game, whether it's football, basketball, hockey, they have time where they pause, right?
Okay.
Football has halftime, right? And if
Mm-hmm.
you watch TV sometimes, there's commercial break. Now, I'm not saying in a relationship there may be a break, but mentally there may be, maybe even
Mm-hmm.
physically, some things that you may need to do where you have that break. Because keep in mind, if you're in a heated argument, somebody has to take a break,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So if your break is to walk away, go for a drive, go outside, pray, count to 100 and pray. To me, that's
Mm-hmm.
right. Maybe your break could be you go get your nails done, right? But
Mm-hmm.
when the relationship, when you realize if you're the only one putting in work, then that's when the time to take it to God and say, okay, God, listen. Because we know what Paul's word even speaks about, what Paul said even in the Bible about being separated. Like you shouldn't be separated for too long, because when you are, then you're opening up your
Mm-hmm.
relationship to maybe some things that you may not necessarily want open,
Oh, okay.
because
Uh-huh.
maybe your mate may get into. Like, okay, so I was watching yesterday the inspired story of Madam C.J. Walker.
Okay.
And it was something that was said in that made me. Now that was even making sense, and I'm glad that I even mentioned it. So her and her husband, they were separated, as we know. If we watched the movie or even did make some history, we know that he ended up messing around with another woman. But even in that separation, like when she left him and moved to New York, she left room, even in her separation, for traveling. Even though she was conducting business, she left room for some things to kind of maybe take place. Now, was it all her fault? No, because all in the same token, keep in mind her husband, he left room for certain things. You walking around with your shirt off, you leaving room for a woman to see what your wife
is.
So she gonna be like, hey, I want it. And then too, knowing that her name was Madam C.J. Walker after her husband and not Sarah, which was really her real name. What really got me was when they were like, well, her husband's girlfriend. I was like, that don't even sound right. How the husband girlfriend? Like when I heard that, and I was like, but they said it like it was a normal thing to say, or like that the fiance was wondering how a husband got a fiance or a girlfriend. Like that don't even sound right at all, you know, to say that. So you have to be mindful, you know, in your relationship, what you leave it open for. But if you know that in your relationship that that's what it is, then it's like, okay, your husband got a girlfriend, that don't sound right. It's time for you to go ahead and move on, unless God says to you, trust me. Now, if you hear that voice even in the midst of that say, trust me, then you should already know that it is getting ready to be something that's set up to be beyond. And I can speak, you know, from that perspective, because my husband and I, we have been separated for 5 years. And at one point in time, we lived in 2 separate cities. So you can imagine what our relationship was opened up to, you know, not just even on his side. I mean, some people was like, hey, I had a guy ask me, well, is your husband married? I was like, huh? I'm like, well, if he ain't, I am. Like, you see, usually, if he ain't, bro, I am.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, you know what I mean? I'm like, thank you for letting me know that I'm still good on the app, but I'm going to let you know, there were 3 people who went into this marriage. And as far as I'm concerned, the odds are against my husband because it's 2-1. It's me and God. So listen, whatever.
She said the odds is against you.
The odds was against. Come on, you got God on your side. Ooh. That's like a no-brainer. So, but no,
we can actually use that even in everything about the attack of the enemy. The odds are against you because you talked about everything is relational. So if I'm in relation with God, it's 2-1. The fight is fixed. Like, why you trying?
Listen, who has that song that says it's a fixed fight and I already won? Listen, the fight is fixed. Once you believe and know who God is, like, yeah, I mean, do you be like, okay, Lord, is it today? Is you going to deliver me from this today? But when you, that's the flesh, but when in the spirit, you know that, then you can just sit back and do what Psalms 46:10 says, be still and know that I'm God. Like, I was telling a friend today who was going through something, I'm like, girl, be a scrub. I said, be a scrub for God. Sit on the passenger side of your best friend's ride and let him do the thing and just lean back
Ooh, be a scrub. I love
I'm a
it.
scrub for God. You hear me? I'm going to sit on
Yeah.
the passenger side and lean back and let him do his thing. Because come on. If I fight it and do it, I'm going to mess it up. Because I'm coming with Vaseline and I might say some words that might not be in the dictionary. That I pray that I've been delivered from. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the
So
day,
to our youngins,
yes.
when you break out the Vaseline, it's going down. They may not know
Listen.
about that. It's going down.
But now
Take the earrings off, it's going down.
Out. But now, I do that in the spirit. And that's what I'm teaching my daughter. Listen. Okay, so you know how to lay hands. But learn another way to lay hands. Fight in the spirit. Now that you want to fight. All right, come on. I'm fighting in the spirit. That time, have be putting Vaseline and be all scarred up. And listen, I had scars. Trust me when I tell you, spiritual scars. But because of God, you wouldn't even know it. You wouldn't even know it. And so, in that,
don't look like what I've been through
at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Ooh. Okay, we gonna have to move on because we can stay there and the show be over. But my next question, and I know this one is very dear to you. We hear the phrase all the time: "Give yourself grace," and it sounds so beautiful, but giving yourself grace isn't easy to say when we're talking about someone else's life, or it can get harder when you're looking at your own decisions saying, I should have known better, or I stayed too long, or I should have left sooner, I wasted time, or how did I end up here, or what were you thinking when you decided to do whatever? So what does giving yourself grace actually look like when you've disappointed in your choices, you're grieving in your loss, and you're starting over later in life?
No, that's good. So one thing my mother always said is, whatever you decide, be okay with those decisions. So even when I made some bad decisions, I'm like, I give myself 3 days, because I've told myself, no, nobody told this to me, that I'm no better than Jesus. So if Jesus laid in the grave for 3 days and he rose up, I got 3 days to wallow in this, and then that's it. Because Jesus died so that I wouldn't go through some of the things that I even put myself through. But you know what? But Adam and Eve, and we could go on and talk about that. But giving yourself grace is like realizing, so you made the mistake. Get over it. Learn from it. And then keep it moving, because the enemy wants you to stay stuck there. He wants you to be like, you know what? I shouldn't have did this. Oh, I gave him all of that. But then the flip side, what did you learn and what you gave? Because it's always a lesson learned, in that. So what did you learn? And you also have to look at, now that I've learned this, what am I going to do with the information that I learned? And so in that, for me, that is how I learned to give myself grace. It's like the mistake with the. Now, if you go back and make that same mistake again, then, you have to ask yourself, why? Why did I go back to the very thing that hurt me? Why would I go back and make this mistake over and over? And then learn to ask God, what was the lesson that I was supposed to learn in that? And even still, don't get stuck, because it's a lesson to be learned. We will, on the subject, sometimes go through things over and over again until we learn that lesson. But give yourself grace. ask God, what was it? Is this what I think I'm supposed to learn, or was there something more that you were
Mm.
to learn?
Mm-hmm.
And then move on.
Move on. She said 3 days. You got to get
Three,
up from here. You got to
three.
get to moving.
I mean, you might look ugly, because I have.
Mm-hmm.
I be looking as bad as they did on that one movie with Eddie Murphy when he was moping because he didn't. Oh, I can't even think of the name of the movie with Halle Berry. It'll come to me, but in that movie, it was looking pretty bad when he got jilted. But at the end of the day, you just keep moving, keep it moving.
Wow. Such wonderful nuggets. So there may be somebody listening or watching who, either stumbled across us in this conversation or is listening later to the replay, and her life may not look like anything she imagined. She may have gone through trauma. She may be starting over. She may have had relationships that ended, career changes, all kind of things. But one of the things I want to ask you to give us is just 3 things that the woman listening today who life isn't going according to her plan can do to rediscover what her purpose is, protect her peace, and believe that there is still more life ahead of her.
And so, first thing I would say, read, study, and meditate Jeremiah 29 and 11.
Mm-hmm.
And say, thank you, God, that you know the plans that you have for me. Because let me tell you, God's plans are always better and greater than our plans. So don't be discouraged that you didn't get whatever it was, because it could be that God is protecting you from something, or it's just not time yet, because there's things God may want you to develop to get you to your next. It's just like you got to exercise faith. You got to exercise trust in God that He knows, what's best. And I think sometimes I did 3 things that sometimes we don't trust God enough to think that what's best for us.
Ooh, we don't trust Him enough. So you about to preach in here.
I mean, and speaking from my own.
That's good though. Yeah.
I mean, it's my own revelation that I had to go through. I realized God helped me to see that I didn't trust Him enough to know that He knew what was best for me.
Wow. So I think that's a great segue into my shameless plug, because you have this event coming up that I cannot wait to attend, and it's called Week 40. And I'm not just promoting it. Like, I think I bought my ticket
like months ago,
a couple months ago, like right when you told me about it. So I want to put some space and time for you to talk about Week 40. Like, what is it? Because we were talking about when life doesn't go according to the plan, and you've given us more than 3 things to think about. And so we invest in a lot of things. So let's talk about what is Week 40 and why should they attend?
So Week 40, the opportunity to transform your life. And you can see it speaks about the 4 pillars of hope: mind, body, soul, and spirit. And so there was a trip that I almost didn't take 9 years ago to Massanutten, Florida. And during that time, God helped me to change my mind, what I thought, so a man thinketh, so he is, right? And there were certain things about my body that I needed to just even the mindset of the relationship that I had with my body. I realized that it was God's temple, where His spirit dwelled. And then my soul, I needed to change that, as well. Because that in connection with my mind, will help like forge the path of things that I didn't even know as far as when it came to being renewed. And then my spirit, I need to really get in contact with God and that spirit that dwells inside. So it would be that time that you would need to learn to be still, devote time, to meditate on his word and to just sit back and listen, to him, because you can't hear God if you're always moving, if things are always loud. You can't hear him if you can't hardly breathe because your body is not in good shape, and you can't hear him if you got all these different things going around in your head, and so you need to really take and work with it. And so what week 40, the hope play on words, hope for week 40 is we'll walk away with feeling hopeful in all those areas.
Okay.
And so, and as you know, the number 40 is for change. And so you want to change how you think about, your mind, your body, and your spirit. And so that looking to ensure that the woman who comes there has a lasting impact.
Wow. So to everybody, I need y'all to go to www.p as in Paul, H as in help, A as in answer, N as in Nancy, K as in kite, I as in India, N as in Nancy, S as in Sam.com/week 40. You need to go there now so that you can get your tickets. I know that registration, like the event is coming up, and I think you got some tickets left. You had a couple specials going on.
We did.
So you want to tell them if there are any special specials coming up right now, or
there's going on, and it will be going on for right after that. It's buy one get 40% off. So you definitely want to go do that. That means like you and your friend can split a buy one get one for VIP, or and we even doing that on some day passes as well.
So listen, y'all get a discount. I paid the regular price because I was like, I'm getting it.
You gonna get something special.
I couldn't wait to find out if there was going to be a special. I needed to get in. And sometimes you have to make those moves. But for y'all that's listening, 40% off. Come on now, get your friend together, get your coins together, and go on there and register so that you can be blessed. So, Coach Pamela, unfortunately our time is coming down to an end. So I so appreciate you coming on and sharing with us. And I'm really ready to discover what's next for me. And so in closing, I guess the final question that I have for you is how do you tell somebody, how do I get my life back together? Because the plan is derailed.
I say, if you want to get your life back together, ask God. Ask them. Put a demand on it. Because God's word at Matthew 7:7 says that you can ask, seek, and knock. And so, what's the plan for me, and how do I get mine?
And so if someone wants to connect to you, how do they connect with you? What are your socials? Or I gave them your website, but how do they connect with you?
I am Coach Pamela Hankins on all social medias except for Twitter. I don't tweet as of yet. You can reach me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok as Coach Pamela Hankins.
Okay. And I love the humbleness about yourself. Something that she didn't mention. She has this awesome book called The Power of a Praying Wife.
The Chronicles of a Praying
The Chronicles of a Praying Wife. And if you don't get to go to week 40, get the book. I think there's a book and a workbook. There's a whole package deal. And if you're not legally married today, you can still read the book. I believe that's how you broke it down. You don't have to be a legally married wife, but you need the book.
Yes. If you are a woman, no matter what phase of life the book is for you. So it's called The Chronicles of a Praying Wife. It just talks about my 5-year period separated from my husband, and how when I thought I was praying for God changed. So, and it's for any woman who wants.
Yes, that's a whole testimony right there. And it ties into the subject when life doesn't go according to plan. Because I'm sure nowhere in your plan you have planned to have a 5-year separation from your husband.
No, not at all. Not planned. I told him this thing is going to be till death do us part. Now that was my plan.
Wow. So I hope that we have said something that will resonate with our listening audience. Again, we want to thank everyone, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, all of the platforms, iHeartRadio, that we are listening on. Catch the replay, and you can drop a comment to either myself or Coach Pam. Reach out to her. She is available for speaking, and definitely go onto her website. I don't endorse a lot of things in my platform because I'm very intentional. But when I have spent my own money, I promise you it's something that you want to do, because in this season, as we are transitioning into the what's next, we want to regroup the plan of God for our lives. So we want to thank you, Coach Pamela, again for joining us. And thank you for all of our viewing audiences, wherever you're tuning in from. We appreciate you spending time with us. And until next Thursday, I got an announcement. Her podcast is on Saturday nights. Y'all want to tune in to it? But we will be back here again next Thursday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So I am Coach TJ, and we want to thank Coach Pamela Hankins for joining us again. You all have an awesome night, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for joining us on Wholeness Without Hustle podcast. And remember, wholeness without hustle, power without pretending, and healing without apology. I'm your girl, Coach TJ, your transformation strategist, and we'll see you on our next episode.